Namaskar, friends. I hope you are in the best of your health, both physical and psychological, and treating along well for your preparation towards the civil services exam. We had done an entire series of 500 questions in season 1 earlier to learn and revise Indian polity through MCQs. I will now resume from there in this season 2, starting from question 501. Now, those of you who are directly and only watching this video may like to pause after seeing every question, attempt it, and then proceed to hear the brief explanation. Or attempt the question first on the WhatsApp and Telegram channels and then learn from these videos. And like always, we will try to also learn something more than the question on the screen through the images. Today, it will be the images in the Constitution of India that were designed and illustrated by Sri Nandlal Bose. So, let's take the first question. It is about the summoning of the sessions, and it says President of India may summon a session of the Houses of Parliament on the recommendation of some options have been given. Now, according to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs handbook, the President of India exercises the power to summon the Houses on the recommendation of either the Prime Minister or the Union Cabinet. The actual current procedure that has been established since the budget session of 1999 is that the proposals for summoning the houses are formally sent to the Union Cabinet for approval. And once the Cabinet has given the approval, specifically the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs, then a note from Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs is sent to the President to actually seek the formal approval and the signature. Then, similarly, in the case of prorogation of the houses also, a largely similar process is followed, where the CCPA, or if CCPA is not constituted, then the Prime Minister, these two, then the Prime Minister, they approve the prorogation. Once they have approved, then the Secretary of Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, the Secretary sends the decision to the Secretary Generals of the two houses, the Secretary Generals of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. They then seek the approval of the President of India. Anyway, so that's basically the straightforward question where correct answer is 1 and 2. Then next question is about the summoning of the session only, and it basically looks at the two possibilities that it is not necessary that Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha be summoned at the same time and also be prorogued at the same time. So, Article 85 is the concerned article here in the Constitution, and there is no requirement to either summon or prorogue the two houses together. In fact, after every election, generally we see that the Rajya Sabha is summoned a few days after Lok Sabha. And that is basically to allow for the time for taking oath by the newly elected representatives to the Lok Sabha. So both these statements are correct. However, since the question is asking not correct, so the correct answer is neither one nor two. So this not is something we should always be careful in the exam as well. Then next question is regarding the allocation of seats in the present Lok Sabha, and it is based on the census of which year. Now, currently we know Lok Sabha has been decided with a strength of 543, which was also proposed to increase to a maximum of 850 by the recent amendment, which got defeated in the Lok Sabha itself. And when this was decided, 543, the allocation of states, UTs, all of this has been fixed based on the Delimitation Act of 1973, which had undertaken the delimitation exercise based on the census figures of 1971. So even till today, we are following the allocation of seats, the fixation of seats based on the 1971 census. However, the boundaries of the constituencies, the boundaries are not based on 1971 census, except in some cases. Largely, they have been designed now based on 2001 census, the last delimitation exercise. However, you should also know that states like Jharkhand, then Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, they are still based on 1971 census, the boundaries. At the same time, Jammu and Kashmir and Assam, their boundaries are based on the most latest 2011 census information. So definitely, as you can see, it's all over the place. Some states 2001 census boundaries, some states 1971 boundaries, some states 2011 census boundaries, and the seat allocation actually is all 1971. So definitely there is a need, and time has come to fix the representation of people in the popular houses at the center and the states. That is definitely politically a very sensitive and difficult topic to handle. And that's why the recent debates on delimitation and the failure of the bill. Nevertheless, the correct answer here is 1971, option D. Next question is regarding asymmetric federalism, where some options have been given, such as states don't have right to secede from the union, but union has the power to cede a territory. Now, that statement as such is correct, but that is nothing to do with asymmetric federalism. Asymmetric federalism, very simply put, is a system where different states or different regions in the same federation, they have different levels of power, autonomy, or some kind of special status which is not available to others in the same federation. So basically, differentiated provisions are made to accommodate unique ethnic, linguistic, cultural diversity, special needs. For example, the Rajya Sabha representation in our country, that is asymmetric federalism because all states are not equal, very much unlike USA, where we know that all the states are seen as the same. Similarly, Article 371 in our constitution, where special provisions have been made for some of the states. So the correct answer here is the statement B, which says granting of differential rights to certain states by the constitution. You should know Canada is also an example of asymmetric federalism, while USA, of course, is a very popular symmetric federalism example. Anyway, let's move on to the next question where it is talking about the term of the Lok Sabha. First statement says cannot be extended. Now that's wrong. Obviously, it can be extended, and the relevant article here is Article 83 of the Constitution, where provision is there to extend the Lok Sabha, and we have done that already in the year 1977. Rather 1976 was the year when election was supposed to happen, but it was extended till 1977. It was also further extended till 1978, which was not used because in 1977 emergency was dropped and we had conduct election. Anyway, so what does Article 83 say? There are four important points Article 83 makes. Firstly, there must be national emergency. So only during national emergency it can be done by Parliament making a law, no other way, simple majority. And it cannot be for more than 1 year at a time. It can be any number of times, but not more than 1 year at a time. And lastly, whenever the emergency proclamation ceases to operate, it comes to an end, then the extension cannot be more than 6 months after the proclamation has ceased. So from that, the correct answer should be C, where it says it can be extended by 1 year at a time during proclamation of national emergency, any number of times. Okay, so this is how the it will be. Because in all the other options like resolution, there is no resolution. You have to make a law. Then it says up to maximum 3 years. No, there is no 3 year limit. The 3 year limit is only in the cases of president's rule, which is a separate issue altogether. So, next question is regarding the tribes being added to the list of scheduled tribes, the STs. And two options are given here that a community can be recognized as a scheduled tribe if it qualifies the criteria provided in the constitution. Actually, there is no criteria provided in the constitution. So the government decides there is a role of National Commission of Scheduled Tribe. Then there are criteria which are largely still the same as what was recommended by Lokur Committee. So from a social issues perspective, you should be up, really up to speed with this. For our purpose, there's nothing provided in the Constitution of India. Then there are two important clauses, same article, that is Article 342, Clause 1 and Clause 2, wherein Clause 1, it gives the power to the President to specify the tribes which should be deemed as scheduled tribes. So President has already done that in 1950 itself. A notification was issued, and President cannot modify the list by another notification. They can make one notification which has been done. If any changes are to be made, then it is the parliament which has the authority to, by law, add or remove any of the tribes. So this is where the second statement is there, where it says President of India has the authority to include or exclude a tribe from the list of scheduled tribes. Now that is could have been correct if it was 1950, because President of India had that power to make the notification first time. But today, if it has to be done, it is a power only that belongs to Parliament. So even second statement is wrong. So both of these are wrong. And as you can see, very interestingly, out of nearly 10,000 people who have attempted this question on the Telegram channel alone, hardly 17% could get it right. So you may like to, improve your understanding there. Next question is about the term of Lok Sabha, which actually, just before the previous question, we've already seen that it can be extended by the parliament by law. Straightforward idea is still hardly 20% of nearly over 9,000 people. So it again tells me, what I keep saying in all previous videos also, that basics, fundamentals, ABCD. Anyway, next question is regarding the calling attention notice or calling attention motion, that it has restricted the scope of which of the following: question hour, 0 hour, short duration, discussion, adjourned. Now, calling attention motion was introduced in 1954 in our parliament. And before that, the MPs, members of parliament, would very frequently use adjournment motions to bring urgent matters to the floor. Now, because an adjournment motion contains an element of censure, that is criticism against the government, and it can disrupt the scheduled business of the House, speakers have generally been reluctant to allow these kind of procedures. Whereas calling attention provides that middle path because it is non disruptive. A member can call the attention of a minister on urgent issues of public importance without stopping the day's regular schedule. There is no voting, etc., which is required in this case, and there is no implied sentiment of censure against the government either. So this has largely now taken over the adjournment motion business that was very popular actually earlier. So the correct answer here is D, adjournment motion. Moving on to question 509 regarding Cartagena Protocol on biosafety, connecting from your environment studies. Cartagena Protocol, we all know, is an international agreement designed to ensure the safe handling, transport, and the use of living modified organisms. Also commonly known as the genetically modified organisms, the GMOs, which are created by modern biotechnology. So very much related to basically environment issues. You can understand it that way. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they serve as the competent national authority, CNA, under the Cartagena Protocol. And they are the nodal agency responsible for ensuring that the country meets its obligations. It definitely coordinates with the Ministry of Science and Technology, because Ministry of Science and Technology houses the Department of Biotechnology. The Department of Biotechnology is under the Ministry of Science and Technology. So for research related biosafety regulations, etc., MOEFCC will regulate with coordinate with Ministry of Science and Technology. Also, the various other protocols which are more directly related to our environment, like Montreal Protocol, Nagoya Protocol, Kyoto, Paris Agreement, all these are managed by MOEFCC, which is a more logical thing, obviously. So the last question for this video is regarding annual financial statement of the Government of India shall be presented to the Houses of Parliament on such day as the President or the Speaker or the Parliament or the Union Finance Minister may decide. Straightforward question. This is Article 112 of the Constitution, which requires that the President shall cause to lay. President doesn't have to lay. President shall cause to lay before both the Houses of Parliament the annual financial statement. So it is the President who is the authority to fix the date. Correct answer is A. Also, we all know that in actual practice, it is now a convention that the budget is presented on the 1st of February. Even if it is a Sunday, it is going to be 1st of February, because this year it was a Sunday. So, Those were the 10 questions for this time. All the best for your preparation. Watch the next video whenever it arrives.